Oh hey, look, I am back grinding, and as per usual I am not quite sure why. I was dreaming of fighting dragons and stealing treasure, and possibly some in-game bitches of course, but yet the game got the better of me once again, and I am now standing here, surrounded by rocks, left-clicking all of them. And with that I welcome you back to my exciting story of my first ever attempt of Dragon Slayer. And one thing is definitely for sure now, the name is a big joke. So far I haven't slain anything, haven't even seen a dragon yet, and what about my bitches? In-game of course. But enough of that. As you know, I am now a boat owner, but that was in no way a progression, as I first need some nails and planks and repair that ship myself, which in itself isn't that big of a deal. Pretty much the entire story of this game is that someone has to fix all the issues all the time, but for once it's my own issue that I have to fix, but I have no idea where to find the ingredients. For the nails that changes relatively quickly, and 34 smithing is all I need for them. And given I'm 32 right now and I still have the approach of I wanna do everything myself at least once, you know, before I'm cheating and buy my way out of playing the game at the Grand Exchange, you can kinda see where this one is going. I mean, you've just seen it. Step 1 for that is to finally accept my defeat and pretty much empty the entirety of my inventory. But I'm still somewhat proud that I prepared myself for once. But it matters not. With merely a pickaxe equipped, I'm going for a little bit of an ore hunt. Because if you want to make steel nails, you need steel of course. But for that you need 2 coal ores and 1 iron ore. Which brings me to another little piece of information I haven't acquired yet. Where do I find coal exactly? And I wasn't even sure if I could even mine it at that point. And turns out I was correct. I'm missing a mining level as well actually. And the quest I grinded so hard for to start now turns out to be another grind within to even progress at the part that I didn't even know I had to do initially. Isn't RuneScape great? I'm not too sure about that just yet, but I do know that I won't find any coal around here. I still can't access this place either. This little door with all the secrets beyond it is actually members only. The barbarian place isn't any more helpful either. I quickly contemplated to just simply force the level right here, but given there's only low-level ores, the XP I'm getting isn't quite up to par with the progress I would like to have at this point in time. I'm also sad to announce that this place isn't quite right either. Well, for now. And I really checked everywhere. So there's but one thing to do. We just do a hard reset and go back to the beginning. Because I had a little blast from the past. Because the last time I was here, I told myself something along the lines of, I don't need that now, but I definitely know that for the future. Look who definitely didn't know in the future. I would have to lie if I said that this surprises me though, but I at least found the coal. I then started mining silver, which hopefully is the most XP efficient at this point. Something that I surprisingly care about now. Weird how that works. And after just a few moments of disgusting, sweaty, optimized mining, there is fireworks. And the game announces that I have reached my destination. And that is actually here. Because here I'm perfectly calculating the amount of coal I'll need. Just to walk back here. To add the obviously perfectly calculated amount of iron I'll need. To make the perfect amount of bars. To then find out that this anvil is actually only used for bronze equipment. But to be fair, things were going way too well anyways, so I understand that RuneScape had to do something. I mean, just imagine I could just properly progress through the game. I might just uninstall, I think. But I do have some more anvils up my sleeves, which shall not be taken literal, please. I vent my frustrations on the way, and I'm starting to feel bad for that guy because he's always the one that gets it. But then again, while we're here, there was a certain rope vendor mentioned earlier, and after I tell him of heroics, dragons, treasure, and don't forget the bitches, he was almost on board with my plan, but well, the TLDR pretty much. I have to finish the shopping list first before he even considers joining the team. So for now I'll wave goodbye, but I'm pretty sure I'll see this guy later. Yeah, that's really enough of that. But while I already distracted myself with an entirely different task already, which for once isn't the game's fault, at least to a certain degree, I might as well keep going, and I really want to figure out where the hell do I find planks, as I'm almost certain I have not once seen any of them before. And it stays that way. I clicked all of the small little tabs down there, but for now I'll postpone this. And I will actually focus on the task at hand for once. And I make my way to 33 smithing. But better yet, also to that point where I now have the knowledge that all of these silver bars are completely useless. And all of that brings me back to this so exciting world of farming dopamine points. I mean, I really missed it, not gonna lie. It's definitely been like almost 20 minutes now that I haven't been farming for something. But well, a bunch of inventories of coal and a bunch more inventories of iron, a little bit of a smelting session, and whatever the hell I'm doing here, I haven't quite figured that out yet, leads me all the way back to kind of where everything started, because this is the closest furnace to a bank distance I have found. This might obviously be subject for being horribly wrong, but it definitely beat the vibes of smelting everything in the desert, and it is also way closer to the anvil to bank distance that Varrock is offering. And the worst part about this is I'm slowly but surely starting to figure out why some of you care so much about effectivity in this game. I remember the old me that would have definitely found the most inefficient place to do all of this, pretty much by accident. I'm almost sure that's not a good thing. Nostalgia for now sadly has to stop. Hammer time. And a little bit of hammer time later, I once again prove my insane genius. Because on the second last bar, I'm leveling so that the last bar can be used to make the nails I've been looking for all this time. It's astonishing, really. There's 8 billion people on this planet, and somehow I am the best at RuneScape. It really is crazy. And some lucky players out there actually had the honor of buying the best player's steel maces. Congratulations, you guys. But there it is actually a good thing that I am the greatest, because there's still this little side task that I am slightly ignoring so far. I still need some planks to those nails, which so far I have no clue, but now that I know that I'm a genius, I mean, nothing simpler than that. And the section that follows is merely some help for you guys, because, well, I obviously don't need that. You know, genius and everything. Come on guys, we just covered this. But just for the sake of completing the journey properly, I will now show you where you will not be able to find planks, in case you were looking for them there, of course. I would never open the map and have no idea what to look for, where to look for, and especially how would I even get there. I can obviously only guess, but I'm assuming a beginner would definitely be distracted by these tree icons. Little tip from me, those are not correct. One might possibly also then spend maybe a few minutes scanning the entirety of the map and all of its beautiful icons. And given that we didn't find anything simply because there wasn't anything to find, desperation strikes, and we're checking out a general store, even though we've been entering maybe possibly 100 of them before, and should definitely know that there is no planks to be found here. Well, okay, so that was definitely not it. It's also none of the beautiful icons around here, but just outside Varrock, there is something intriguing. Lumberyard with sawmill. That has to be it, right? Well, or, after closer inspection, climbing a broken fence? Only if you're rich. Climbing the window sadly is no option. Following the path of the fence merely just brings us back to where we started, which is kind of a reoccurring theme in this game, at least when I'm playing it. But running in circles was not quite what I was looking for at this place. I did cut down some trees and tried all sorts of combinations to get this to be planks somehow. It didn't happen. So I once again studied the beautiful icons, which is actually slightly incorrect because I think I'm not ever this detailed when I'm actually studying. But I now do know the entire map at least. So if you have any questions, I'm here for you. I might not have the answer, but I like being asked. I also learned that this seems to be the only sawmill to ever exist anywhere. Glad that they are dangling this in front of me, like a carrot on a stick for a horse. But it seems to have worked because that was just enough for me to think, well, there has to be some way to figure this out. That in combination with finding the forestry shop and a rather new state of desperation actually was more than enough for me to start going and investigate. And while I was in Lumbridge, I might as well check out my good old friend, the crafting tutor. who was ever so useless, but he might as well just get tired of me asking dumb questions all the time. But to be fair, he really has one of the worst jobs, being in the starting area, dedicated to answer the noob's questions. I guess this kinda compares to having a retail job in real life, with all the noobs walking into your store all day. Yeah, this checks out. Anyways, let's actually look up what the shop is all about. And I have to say, I'm well aware that this is not the correct answer. As much as I am avoiding any form of RuneScape content online, I still see the news popping up when I open the game on Steam, of course, and I have read the words forestry, and either it is something that has been reworked or simply actually added new to the game. So there's no way that this would be helping me fix a 20-year-old quest. But it was merely one of these things that I just had to do wrong, so I knew for sure. So I now have a forestry kit and absolutely no idea what it does. But for once I also really couldn't care less, because none of this matters right now, as we once again have way more important matters at hand, such as for some reason asking the guy that sold us the ship how we may go and repair it, and surprisingly he doesn't care. Almost like this is my problem now. It might also come as a shock that just going one town over and entering the general store there will make a difference. And so once again the map becomes my best friend, but surprisingly the more often you look at it, the less it changes. Unsure who exactly came up with this concept, but they were definitely ahead of their time. But for me, it's not really looking any better. I'm still wandering around in the lands, and now that I'm standing at this crossroads here, feeling more helpless than ever really, there actually is 2 paths available. One would be to really just call it a day. Well, or we live in complete denial and completely ignore the fact that this is definitely not looking good, and we'll just do something else instead. As you might remember that we need a little bit more than just one thing this time, and I am reasonably near the Goblin Village anyways, a place I definitely did not expect to come back to ever again. But someone here stole one piece of the map. You know, the one that isn't a map because it's actually 3 maps. Regardless, let's talk to Munch and Crunch over here, and for once they actually get right to the point. The culprit in question's name is Wormbrain, of course, and because he has a certain habit of stealing things, he is to be found in the Port with the Good Music jail. Well, not that I've just been there, but for once a task that is manageable, even for me. A little footwalk later, we voluntarily enter the jail, and given that I'm technically still looking for a captain, I tried my luck with this guy, but sadly not. And nearly one cell over, the one and only, the myth, the legend, it's a Wormbrain. My god. Conversation with the fella reveals relatively quickly he has the map piece in question, but given that the guy doesn't really have much to lose, the only thing he will settle for is me buying the piece off of him for 10,000 gold coins. And I really tried every conversation possible. Fine then, most of you have told me that it is a rite of passage to actually get scammed in this game, so I might as well start getting scammed by NPCs first. Then again, given my recently acquired royalty status in this game, what really is 10,000 gold coins? I do have to get it from the bank first though, because, well, I dropped everything, even my gold, so I can effectively conduct my involuntary stroll through all of the starting area. I reasonably quickly find my gold in all of this chaos, ready to return, but, well, maybe the chaos itself was the reason. I do spot something else while I had to look for the gold in the first place. Which is funny because usually the gold is in the first place, but regardless, turns out I am a genius after all. I mean, I obviously knew that. I never doubt it. I was just leading you guys on. There is definitely no way that I, at this very moment, randomly find planks in my bank that I completely forgot about. My best guess is that I think I remember getting those out of that mountain labyrinth thing, where I spent like 2 hours smashing a wall in to then completely fuck it up so I could do it again, if you might remember this. And technically speaking, I still don't know where to get planks from, other than my bank, I guess. But after now running in circles for hours and, well, really not having a clue how to properly fix this, this is enough for me this time around. But way more important, the thing that I was actually meant to do, turns out Wormbrain is not a scammer, but an honorable tradesman. And I transformed 10,000 coins into the first map piece. Did I overpay? Was I possibly still scammed? Or did I secretly fund a prison revolt? I couldn't care less, because for once things are finally working out. I can already sense the dragon. There is no way things could possibly go downhill from here, right?